Hello explorers, and welcome to another video. And today I'm gonna talk about some more of a softer subject. I just want to have a discussion or chat with you about what things I thought would be good to know when I started in this industry. I've been away on a spa with my wife for my um, sixth honeymoon, or we have been married for 6 years. So I haven't prepared any code examples. So I thought it would be good to talk about something that I really think that more people should know when they get into the industry. And maybe you can share some details that you thought were very good to know when you entered this industry, and if you have any different experience than I have. So the first subject I really need to um, talk about, it's a little bit weird and a little bit irritating that you have to actually talk about this subject. But I think that there is some people that don't understand that when you work in a company, whatever you do in the company, whatever you work with in the company, or whatever you work at or with and so on, you need to figure out what are the social construct of that company. How should you behave when you are at work? And I have seen many examples of people that are are really unprofessional at work. So if you take, for instance, social events or lunches or anything like that, when you are meeting your colleagues and talking to them, they are just people as you, and they have interests, and they have different things going on in their lives, and perhaps they want to share those interests or those special events with you, and that's fine. But I think there is some topics that are not well suited for a work environment. If you have been dating a lot, if you are single and you have a lot of those personal experiences, maybe those are not suited for work. And if you are out clubbing a lot and doing a lot of stupid things still because you are in your 20s, maybe those things are not well suited for work either. It all depends on the colleagues you are working with. Of course, may differ if you have a work environment where many of the people are at the same age as you and do the same kind of things in the weekend. Maybe that's a good thing to do, but you have to keep in mind that everyone that works in your company has a different view on life, a different set of experiences going into this line of work and so on. And some subject can be really touching and some subject can be really hurtful and so on. So some subjects are just not good for work. So if you see a video not safe for work, or you have a topic that somebody talks about not safe for work, they are probably some kind of knowable person about what's safe for work or not, or at least they thought this subject would probably not go well in a work environment. Another thing that has a great name, and I don't want to talk about it too much, is that everybody feels that they don't belong in the workplace. Everybody feels that everybody else does a better job than me. It's usually not true. You usually do a fine job. You were hired for your skills, and you are doing a great job as long as you don't get fired. That's pretty much it. So if you are doing a great job, you are contributing something to the company, you should not be that scared that you don't belong. Everybody else feels the same way, and everybody else are trying to do the best for their company. So yeah, just leave that feeling. It's not that very helpful. And if you are interviewing for a new company and you're trying to figure out what's good to say in an interview and what's bad to say in an interview, in this line of work, or at least in my experience in Sweden, most companies really want new employees. They are hunting you like crazy and trying to find new people that can help them build their stuff, because there isn't that many of us, sadly. I would be very glad if many more people were in my industry, so we didn't have this issue of everybody hunting you. But there's a good thing to keep in mind, that when you are having an interview, what you say is pretty much as important as how you say it. So if you have an interview, then try to be clear, try to figure out what are the answers they want to their specific questions. Maybe you get a test. I've had some interviews where I've done a test and I didn't get that job, and afterwards I was very happy that I didn't get that job because it was a really boring company. Most companies usually have a discussion with you and try to figure out how you think about problem solving. And if you have done a lot of problem solving, perhaps playing a lot of puzzle games could be a good thing, that you just can take a problem and rationally go through how to find a solution to this specific problem. I should think that you should hit the mark pretty much every time. And going on interviews is a good habit. The more interviews that you actually have with different companies, the better you are at interviewing. And maybe you don't want that specific job, but as I said, many people or many recruiters are looking for people, so their job is to make you excited for the job. And if they totally fail, that's not your failure, that's their failure. They should really be attempting to get you excited about this position. If they can't, then they can't. And when you are at an interview, it's good to know that if they are searching for a specific skill, so you get this email or this notice at LinkedIn or anything like that, that this company is hiring, they are searching for developers that has this specific skill and this specific skill and so on, and you feel that I could do this work but I don't have this specific skill, then it's good to know that everything in this industry is actually learned, something that you can learn. It's learnable. So if you just Google the thing that you don't know and find the specific thing online, there are usually tutorials, or there are usually some information that you can gather and can get yourself into the subject matter. And perhaps the company you are going to don't require you to be an expert with 10 years of experience in this specific product and so on. I worked at a consulting company that worked with IBM's huge e-marketing, e-commerce system, and I didn't know that much about it. I looked into it, learned a lot about it before I started my employment, and I did fine. It was quite a bit of things to learn before you can actually be really productive in it. But most of the time when you're starting a new assignment at a firm or a company, it's not required that you know everything. They are not thinking that you can be productive from day one. They actually see that if you can be productive after the first week, so that you actually have learned enough to be up and running the first week, and you have installed your computer and everything is fine, then they probably will keep you, because it's not that hard to learn things, but it's really hard to find people that really want to learn and really want to be a part of this industry. So many things can be done just by being diligent and actually doing hard work. You will learn a lot, you will have fun, and I really hope to see you in this industry, because yeah, it would be fun to have more people working with computers. I think it's really fun, and I hope that more people think this is a fun industry. Another topic that I didn't really know when I went into this industry is that there is quite a huge gap between product companies and consulting companies. And it's not that much what you do, but how you do it. In a consulting company, you usually get into work and every hour is important for your employer. So you usually do a lot of time management, usually follow up a lot, and usually you figure out if you are at the customer for 8 hours and done something for 8 hours, that customer really needs to know what you did those 8 hours, so they feel sure that those billed hours are actually something that they want to pay for, and your consulting company really want to know that you are doing well, and they are really trying to foster the situation between you and your company. So they are doing a lot of meetings and a lot of different things that to make you feel welcome in their company and feel a part of their company, and they also want you to feel a part of the other company that you actually are working for. So that dual responsibility for the consulting firm and the dual responsibility to you as an employee could be very taxing and be a very strange situation. And I actually had an experience where it was really weird. I was sent to change computers in a huge company. I think there were 15,000 employers, and the consulting company for that company had in turn contacted another consulting firm that had contacted another consulting firm that had contacted another consulting firm. So I believe there were at least 5 companies between me and the customer, and everybody took their piece of the pie. So that was a really interesting thing, that I was paid a really low sum, and the company that I worked for got billed a lot for my time. So that was really weird. So you need to keep that in mind. And when it comes to this issue of time management and time recording, when you actually are your company wants you to put down how many hours you did on a specific how many hours you actually did on a specific assignment or a specific project. There are a lot of different systems for doing this. I've worked with Jira, I've worked with SPCS. Those are Swedish varieties of actually time management. Jira might be more world known, but pretty much it is that you have an assignment or some things that you want to do, and they have figured out how many hours you should do this in, and you just tell them how many hours you actually did. And some companies have more of this time management stuff, and sometimes you have to actually manage your times in multiple systems, the customer or your company or the consulting firm. And that could be a really hassle and something that could be hard to do if you don't keep a good record. And when I had the most trouble with this at one employee, I actually downloaded and installed a time management application for my phone, so I could start my time when I started working on an assignment and stop when I was done. So I kept a record for every thing I did, and that was good to have when I actually did some work with my own consulting firm on the side. So that could be a good habit to pick up, that you actually do some time management on your own, on your phone. So that could be good to keep in mind. So when you are interviewing to a company, what could you expect? What things do you actually get provided, and what should you actually look for in a company? And in Sweden, my experience is that a company that employs you are the most viable or the most valuable resource in the company. If they have a lot of employers that are really good, they can do a lot of stuff. And other things are less valuable. So, for instance, if you say that I want a really good chair, that's pretty cheap, because you will probably use this chair for 1 to 3 years, or if you end up leaving the company, somebody else could use that chair for a lot of years. So that's a cheap investment. The same goes for the desk, or your monitors, your keyboard, or your mouse, and for your computer. Everything that you use in your line of work is actually cheap in difference to what actually you cost every month. So I would say that when you are looking to taking an assignment at an actual firm or a company, what you should say is that I actually want a good computer that meets my need. And your need might not be the same as mine, but in my case, I want a portable power machine, because I do a lot of calculations on my machine. Many other people might have a job where they want a nice looking computer that is portable. Some people might want a desktop that is very powerful or that is cheap. That could be, you can decide your level and what's your need. But I think when you are actually at the interview, it could be good to have in back of your head what you want to have to do your job as well as possible. So if you are talking to an interviewer and they are saying that these are the kinds of things we expect you to do, you should always have a list of things that are required to do that job. So that's up to you to know what is required for me to do my job as efficiently as possible. Another thing that is really nice to look into is, what's a good desk chair? What chair could I sit in for long hours and do focused job? Because you spend a lot of hours in your desk chair at work or standing at your desk. And if you don't have a good environment around your desk, you will probably get back pains or hand cramps and so on. So keep in mind, what is a good working environment for me? And look into what kind of keyboards do I like to type on. What keyboards are I'm typing the fastest on? I like mechanical keyboards. I type really fast on those. It might differ for you. The mouse is not that important for me. I wanted a good laser mouse because I don't want any dust in my mouse and so on. Or a good optical mouse works fine for me as well, as long as they are dust resistant, because desks can get quite dusty. So I just want it to work, but I usually use my keys anyway. I seldomly use the mouse for some operations, but I have learned to use my keyboard more than the mouse. So what is important for you to do your job efficiently. Look into that, and also keep in mind that it should be a good situation for you. Another thing, and the last thing that is good for your health and your well-being, is actually what kind of monitor you want. And many people don't have any problems with whatever monitor they get. They can work on a laptop and so on. But you should know that it's safe for you to say that I really need a huge screen. 32-inch television is the only thing I can program on, because I will use 20 or 28 or 48 in font size, because I have bad eyesight. And that's fine. Your company does not hire you because of your eyesight. They don't hire you because of your specific needs or how you can program the most efficiently. They are hiring you for your skills, what you actually can do. And when you come to a workplace, everybody there has been hired because of their skills and what they can bring to the company. So that's the last part that I want to talk about, is that I feel that I'm really happy and really appreciating of the other peoples that work in my company. And I wanted to take some of the things that really are important for a company to work. And many of these things you overlook. For instance, there is some cleaning staff at your company. It's very simple. They're there to actually make the environment good for you to work, so that you don't feel that you can't breathe and so on. And I don't like dust, so if you have a dusty floor and so on, I can have a hard time breathing. So their job is actually to clean up and see that we have an environment that we can work efficiently in and feel good, that we don't get ill and so on. And then you have some staff that perhaps, if you have a coffee machine, takes care of that. And if they didn't do their job well, you would have bad tasting coffee, or perhaps no coffee at all because it would break. So that's also a very important job. Some workplaces has chefs that work in a restaurant that you go to every day, and be appreciative of their work as well, because they are actually feeding you, so you don't have to think about that when you are going to work. And I think that's a very important part of my work day. Other things that roles that are in a company, there are a lot of managers, high level, low level, and so on. And their jobs are very important for me, because when I get focused and when I really do an assignment well, I don't want to think about all the different things that I don't do at the moment. I want to focus on this assignment. I want to do this specific thing. And managers are there to actually manage time, look into that you do the right thing at the right time, and that customers' needs are actually looked into, so they can have a dialogue with the customer and see that their needs are fulfilled, and pick up demands that the customer has, sort them up, discuss priority, when are we doing what, and that trickles down to an actual list of things that we as programmers need to do. So that's really nice that we don't have to think about those things if we have good managers. Another really important part of work is the support staff. They are actually closest to the customer, they are talking to the customer, they are taking in the customer's needs again, and they are really trying to solve the customer's problems this day, not in a scope or in a planning stage, or just this customer have a problem right now and they are solving that part. And that's also very important. So if you have a good support staff, they can actually handle a lot of issues and a lot of problems, so you don't have to. Another area that you can have is UX, user experience. And these people are really good at looking into what makes this kind of thing that you try to create usable to your customer. So they do a lot of reviews and can again talk to the customer, or actually do gather data by picking people from the street and do some studies and really figure out how can we make our product better so more people want to use it and more people can use it with ease. And you also can have some kind of designers. There are very different designers. You have UX designers, but you also have visual designers that makes things look nice, that actually know a lot of different styles and so on, and really fix up your page so it really looks nice, or fix up anything in the company. If you need to do a web page, they can help you there and get a visual feel that goes well with your brand and so on. If you're doing an app, they can help you there to fix that up and so on. And that's things that you might not want to have in mind when you are creating your specific line of code. Next up, we have very important staff, and those are the DevOps, or the people that makes things run, that are there maybe 24/7 and actually looks over your servers and so on. And these people might not be in-house. You might have people in different locations that actually handles your servers at the service center and so on. But they are also very important, because you don't want to get that call at 4 AM in the night to fix your server because it broke again, or somebody DDoSed it, or you had a hacker that actually came in and stole all your customers' information and so on. So these people are really important to make your company run. Then we have sales. If you don't have sales, you probably not have a company either. If you can't sell your product, and if you can't figure out how to engage your customers enough so they feel comfortable to buy or pay for your product, then you have a really huge problem on your side, because building things for no one is not giving you money. And we do work to get money. That's the hard part. I work at a company and have so much fun, but still I need a salary to survive. And the last area I want to talk about, and I probably have missed some huge areas, so please tell me in the comments. These are marketers. And at the company you have people that handles your customer brand pages and try to create accurate information so your customers can go to your page and read about your product and understand your product. And they create events, for instance, and plan different large meetings that people can come and see your product, or perhaps they are planning to have a booth at some convention so your product gets visible and so on. And that's also a really important job, because if your product is not visible, then you don't sell it and you don't get any money. So again, we come back to money. You could have all these roles in your company doing all these kinds of different work, but you could also have none of these roles. And you could work for yourself, have your own firm. I have my own little consulting firm here that does small jobs for businesses. And when you don't have all these different roles in your company, then you have all those roles. So I have to market myself. I have to sell myself to my customers. I have to call my customers, talk to them, and actually figure out what's needed to be done. I have to be supportive if something breaks. I have to make the service run if I actually are maintaining service, and so on. So working for yourself can be really taxing and really hard, but also quite fun. And all these roles were something that I didn't know when I started in this business. I didn't know that you needed that many people or that many different things done to actually get some code into some product and sell it to your customers. I hope that you found this video informative. I hope that you know a little bit more about how it is to work in this business. If I have missed something, or if you have a totally different experience then please comment down below. Start a discussion. I want to open a forum so that everyone that wants to work in this industry can come in and know what they are getting into. If you like this video, give it a like, share it with your friends and colleagues, and I really hope to see you in the next one.